we really have no control over, other than if we have paid parking lots.
Thank you. And Mr. O'Neill.
I don't think I would support parking meters, especially along Seacoast Drive or 2 blocks in. Right now, there are perfectly good parking lots that go unused. I think the one at the corner of Seacoast Drive and Palm Avenue, the only car I ever see there is Councilmember Bragg's. For those of you that don't know, I live right behind the plank on the beach, and I go out of my way not to park in front of that business. It also, along the shopkeeper area, I try not to park there because I know how important those businesses rely on the parking. I think when it comes to enforcement, if that's the tool, we got to step it up. If we have to make it, between 20 minutes and an hour instead of 2 hours, we need to do that. But we need to give the businesses the tools to have customers come in, spend the money, and go home.
Thank you. And the next question will be led by Mr. Taylor. Could Imperial Beach benefit from a city-owned boat launch? And if so, what will you do to get one?
I think that was brought up already. I would love to see a city-owned boat launch. I'd love to see the fishing back out on the pier. And without a doubt, I think the city would benefit from it. And I'll do whatever I can to see that this happens. It's one of the things that I would like to see happen, along with some other things that I've got to go, but I only get a minute. So the answer to that is definitely yes.
Thank you. Ms. Welsh?
If that's what the people wanted, was a city-owned boat launch, then I would put it up to the people and get the input and then go forward with it. My whole focus is whatever the people of Imperial Beach's passion is. It seems that they have a passion for a dog park. They had a passion that took them 5 years to get a skate park. I'm here to try to make sure that the things that we want as people who live in this town are represented, not just what other people visioned for this town. So that's really, I want to get as much input as I can. I am at the end of Dahlia every night at sunset to talk to the people of Imperial Beach, and I really enjoy the input from the people of Imperial Beach. So that's where I'm coming from.
Thank you. Mr. Bibby?
I'd like to see a boat launch in Imperial Beach, but the main problem is, where are we going to put it? Access to the ocean, we don't want to upset the surfers, right, Jack? And then the sluice is locked up because that was federal land. It would have been nice if the whole sluice area, where I spent a lot of time as a kid growing up, was a great place, if they could have put it over there, it'd make more sense, but I don't see the federal government saying, yeah, you can have a boat launch there. So that would be my only problem, is where we're going to put it. I'd love to see it, but like I said, where's it going to go?
Mr. Bilbray?
Yeah, I'd be for a boat launch. Being a sailor, I'd love to be able to launch any boat that I futurely own. I believe there was supposed to be one built at the end of Palm Avenue when they redeveloped that, and they turned it, they 86 it. So I remember the Hobie Cats sitting on the beach down by Dunes Park before they did eminent domain and kicked everybody out. But yeah, I would definitely like to see a city-owned boat launch.
Thank you. Ms. Bragg?
Thank you. I think if you look at the feasibility of a boat launch in the city of Imperial Beach, I just don't think you could make it happen. Number one, you'd have to have a huge parking lot to accommodate the cars and the boat trailers. But it kind of leads to a question again back to the fishing boat industry. And if any of you lived here a few summers ago, well, a number of summers ago now, and we did have a fishing boat at the end of Pier Plaza, or at the end of the pier. That was a great summer for us, and we had men and women fishermen coming from all over the place to fish here. Unfortunately, there's structural problems with the pier. There's damage then that the boats suffer as well. It was something that I know former council members and former mayors looked at and discussed with our port commissioner. It's just, again, the feasibility of if we can actually do that. It cost a ton of money to retrofit the pier to be able to do that, but when we had that years ago, when we had it, it was a viable operation.
Thank you. Mr. Brown.
Thank you. You know, I'm not too much in support of a boat launch because, like I said, where we're going to put it at this current moment, there's no place to put it, and then we need to focus on other things too as well when we're spending our money. So I'm not in full support of that at all.
Thank you. Mr. Fisher?
I wholeheartedly support having the fishing boats come back to the pier. A couple of my nephews work on the boats currently that launch closer to downtown. I asked them about the feasibility of it. They said it would be wonderful because the people who would be fishing would have a lot less time to travel in the boat to get to the better fish. As far as a boat launch, as far as my memory goes, I remember there used to be one next to the Camp Surf area. I don't know what street that is. However, we've talked about partnering up. Last week at our meeting, the thought was brought up about partnering. Why couldn't we partner with Camp Surf? As far as I know, I think they have a large enough parking lot. It's a place that's well guarded for most of the surf that we get. And it would be an opportunity for a business that is struggling in our city to give them the opportunity and to help Camp Surf to strive, but to create a way that they could increase some of their funds. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Janney.
I think it would be a great idea. Whether it's feasible or not is something different, though. And like we said about living within our means and figuring out how to balance budgets and setting priorities. If we go for shoot the moon ideas, we're never going to get done with the little things. We must sometimes just have to work on what's feasible. Perhaps it's just small boats that we can come off at the end by Palm Avenue and try to come something that's reasonable to fit the scale of Imperial Beach. The idea would be great, but there's so many issues involved that I have a hard time jumping on that bandwagon.
Thank you. Mr. O'Neill.
I would support, with minimal expense, I should say, I would support a city-owned boat launch. We're surrounded by water. We have some of the greatest fishing on the West Coast, just miles from our shores. I would have a problem with its location. What is it going to do to our surf? What's it going to do to our environment? Most definitely, those would be things that would have to be looked at first. Jack, you stole my idea, buddy. I was thinking Camp Surf as well. They got a great location right there. They're on Navy property. The Navy, you can have funding through the morale, welfare, and recreation that they provide. The federal government provides the Navy through the Department of Defense. That could be used to maybe do something tandem with the city and the Navy. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Spriggs.
I think the key question here is who is going to really benefit from this? And if it's for private users, are they IB residents? Are they from outside? If this is a city or municipal project, then it's us paying for it. So we really do need to know who benefits. We need to know how a boat launch would fit within our long-term plans for Imperial Beach, our vision of what we want for our city. And it could very well fit. I just, would think that it needs to be put into that kind of a context because it will cost. We'll have to put infrastructure in order to make it work. However, if we do study it and think that it could contribute to the recreational and other uses of our community and bring perhaps ecotourism or other businesses to the community and fishing business, maybe that's a good thing. But I think the jury is out. We need to study it.
Thank you. And our next question will be led by Ms. Welsh. How do you propose to help businesses of Imperial Beach?
Being a small business owner with my husband, we always think of different things that we could do. And the great thing about Imperial Beach is that we have a unique part to us. We are the most southwesternly point in the United States. There are lots of people who go and visit every point in the United States to have a picture next to it. We need to really understand that we have all these resources built within our own community. And if you support the small businesses of the community, if you don't take away their properties when they've worked really hard, if you don't put in obstacles so people can't come, I won't go to Katie's Cafe if I have to hit a parking meter every time I go. I'll head out to Vaughn's and just grab a Starbucks coffee. I do things because I enjoy them. If you detract from what people enjoy, then they won't come.
Thank you. Mr. Bibby.
One thing I really miss a lot was that show, John in Cincinnati. That was the strangest show in the world. But God, that was like $1 million advertising. I can't tell you how many people I met that came down to Imperial Beach because of that show. I almost felt like a tour guide half the time, telling them where the house was, where Katie's was the internet store, where the surf shop was. I mean, that really helped out IB a lot. It would be nice to have another job in Cincinnati that uses the word Imperial Beach or IB. That was like awesome for IB. As far as helping other small businesses, like I keep saying, I know I'm going to preach it, we need to work with the beach. And the hotel is going to be the biggest thing for IB as far as moving forward. And hopefully this gentleman will quit breaking promises to us, get that hotel done, so we can start utilizing the hotel, showing people what IB's like, and like Jim says, maybe the future could be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bilbray.
Help businesses by really sitting down with them and talking to them and understanding what they need. They need people coming in from the outside. They need people